Welcome to Impact Signals, Social Impact at the Scale of AI. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Sarah.
It's Sunday, July 19, 2026, episode 78. Today, 1 year after floods killed 136 people in the Texas Hill Country, the same rivers rose again and the rebuilt warning system faced its first live test. Also, China and Thailand stand up the first bilateral AI weather disaster lab. Development banks report a record $163 billion US in climate finance. And a Philippine province moves to build an AI-powered disaster command center. We start in the Texas Hill Country, where the flood warning stack rebuilt after last July's disaster just faced live floodwater in the same river valley. A new round of storms triggered catastrophic flash flooding this week in the same areas where floods killed 136 people a year ago, including 28 at Camp Mystic. This time, at least 2 people died and hundreds needed rescue.
What makes this significant is that this is the rarest artifact in early warning, a before and after test in the same river basin, 1 year apart. Last year, Kerr County failed to send a single wireless alert. One Kettleville resident put the difference plainly. Last year, no alarms, no idea what was going on. This year, very different.
The Associated Press has the outcome data. 3 of 6 new sirens in Kerr County were activated to send people to high ground. Comfort added 2 sirens to its lone existing one, and new sirens sounded in Ingham and Kendall County. Kerr County issued 4 wireless alerts early Thursday, and the National Weather Service pushed 38 alerts to southwest Texas, 14 tornado warnings and 24 flood warnings.
A warning only counts if people move. And the same reporting is honest about the gaps. Uvalde County had no documented wireless alerts despite heavy flooding. Some residents learned of the water from friends' phone calls, and a Comfort assistant fire chief named the stubborn last-mile problem. Some people just don't want to leave.
There's a private sector layer too. River Sentry, founded by Ian Cunningham after the 2025 disaster, builds water-level-triggered siren towers for privately owned sites, camps, hotels, recreational vehicle parks, and has installed 104 of them along the Guadalupe River, including near the RV park where more than 36 people died last year.
For practitioners, the transferable pattern is the stack, not any single gadget. State funding legislation, county-level alert discipline, cheap gauge-triggered sirens at privately owned high-risk sites, and an honest public accounting of the gaps alongside the wins. 28 more Texas counties are eligible for that funding, and most are still in the planning stage. Copy the stack, and publish your own gap report after the next event.
Moving to Shanghai, where the Meteorology Forum of the World AI Conference produced 2 announcements that map how countries can now acquire AI forecasting capability. First, China and Thailand will build a joint laboratory for AI early warning of weather disasters, the world's first bilateral lab of its kind, staffed by more than 40 experts and built on China's MAZU platform that's multi-hazard, alert, zero-gap universal. The WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, carried the announcement.
What's new is the institutional form. Co-owned research capacity rather than imported software, targeting typhoons, heavy rainfall, extreme heat, and drought. Thailand is a middle-income country with its own strong meteorological service. It could have bought access. It chose to co-build.
The second announcement is the other end of that spectrum. The China Meteorological Administration unveiled the Mazufeng Yun Satellite AI Box, a hardware and software appliance that combines weather satellite data reception, AI inference, and operational forecasting aimed at countries without their own satellite ground stations. The adoption numbers are the story. Per China Daily, agencies in more than 40 countries have accessed Mazu technologies over the past year, with customized builds in Nigeria, Djibouti, and Pakistan.
So a national weather service now has 3 visible templates. Buy cloud access, take a customized build, or co-build a lab. The open questions are dependency and data governance, whose infrastructure a country's warnings run on, and with a third of countries still lacking any early warning system, those answers now have to come country by country. If you advise a weather service, ask which model leaves durable local capacity before you ask about forecast accuracy.
Story 3, the money behind all of this. The 10 major multilateral development banks, the MDBs, reported joint climate finance of a record $163 billion US for 2025, up 19% year-on-year. $103 billion of it went to low- and middle-income economies, double the level of 5 years ago.
Follow the adaptation line. That's the money that funds resilience rather than emissions cuts, and it grew fastest of all, up 31% to $35 billion, against $68 billion for mitigation. Every siren, gauge, and command center in today's episode lives in that budget line.
The forward targets are on the record too. By 2030, the banks project $120 billion annually to low and middle-income economies, including $42 billion for adaptation, plus $65 billion a year in mobilized private finance.
The practical takeaway is that MDB adaptation windows are expanding on a stated schedule, so early warning, resilient infrastructure, and anticipatory action proposals from field organizations are landing in a pool that has doubled in 5 years. 2 caveats. $35 billion is still a fraction of assessed adaptation needs, and the report is a self-assessment by the lenders. Build your pipeline against those 2030 targets anyway.
One more from the Philippines. The broadcaster ABS-CBN reports that Laguna Province plans an AI-powered command center for disaster preparedness across its 24 municipalities and 6 cities. The Manila Times reported in January that the province was already overhauling its disaster office command center, camera networks, weather monitoring and forecasting tools, targeting completion in the third quarter of 2026.
Provinces and municipalities are where most disaster decisions actually get made, and Laguna sat under a state of calamity earlier this year, with tens of thousands displaced by flooding. For practitioners across Southeast Asia, a province wiring cameras, weather feeds, and AI triage into one operations room on a stated timeline is a replicable template. Watch the third quarter deadline. Then ask for the operating playbook once the room goes live.
On the disaster watch, a magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck offshore Chiapas, Mexico on Friday, followed by a 6.0 aftershock. The U.S. Geological Survey has it at alert level yellow. A shallow magnitude 5.5 quake hit Highland, Peru early this morning, with an estimated 30,000 people in strong shaking, an orange alert from GDAX, the Global Disaster Alert and Coordination System. Mayon volcano in the Philippines holds at orange with ash emissions, and drought across Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia remains an ongoing orange-level event.
The one to connect to today's stories is Mayon. It's active in the same typhoon and volcano-exposed country where Laguna is building its command center, and ash monitoring, evacuation triggers, and aviation alerts are exactly the feeds a provincial operations room has to fuse. And watch Peru. Assessments are in progress this morning.
On the calendar, the UN's Climate Technology Center and Network holds an information webinar this Wednesday, July 22 online, for its Asia-Pacific Adaptation Innovation Call. And the India AI Impact Summit is underway in New Delhi, with sessions on governing safe and responsible AI within digital public infrastructure.
The actionable one is Wednesday's webinar. It feeds directly into the funding call we're about to cover, and it's the place to pressure test your fit before you write anything.
Funding Watch? The Adaptation Fund Climate Innovation Accelerator has an Asia-Pacific call open through the UN's Climate Technology Network. Technical assistance worth up to $150,000 US per project for up to 10 projects, supporting locally led climate adaptation innovation. All Asia-Pacific countries are eligible, with least developed countries and small island states encouraged. The reported deadline is October 7, 2026. Confirm it on the official call page before you plan around it.
2 things before you apply. The support comes as technical assistance rather than an unrestricted grant, and the fit is locally led adaptation innovation. Shape the proposal around something you are testing locally, not routine program delivery. If that call is you, Wednesday's webinar comes before the first draft.
The through line today, early warning is moving from promises to report cards. Texas rebuilt its stack and just published live results. Thailand and China are co-building forecasting capacity, and the development banks are growing the adaptation money that pays for all of it.
The habit worth copying is the audit. Every system in today's episode will face its own live test, and the teams worth learning from are the ones that count their alerts, name their silent counties, and close the gap before the next storm.
That's Impact Signals for Sunday, July 19, 2026. If this briefing is useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out at impactsignals.ai and share it with someone working in the field.
Stay ready.